How lovely to see you boys again. My God, when I first interacted with you, you weren't even the Kaiser Chiefs. You were Parva.
Yeah, we were.
You were confused, poor confused Parva. Now you're very much more focused. How?
I think we're still confused.
Oh, really?
We're still experimenting. We're working it out.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad, because that's a nice position to be. I think just resting on your laurels, then progress is never going to happen. Well, so we're going to get into Duck track by track if you'll allow us.
Yeah, therapy.
Yeah, well, I mean that'll be a nice bonus to get from it. It's always interesting for artists, in this position, go through the whole record and then see how you feel afterwards, because it's probably not something that something you get to do a lot these days.
No.
So I think it's good though that the records come out, and so we've had it for a long time, and know what we think about it,
Yeah.
And at the moment, it's like other people are asking us questions, like, I hadn't thought about whatever that angle or whatever, and it's an interesting time. I think like the first week or so of release, you sort of learn some things about what you've done.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to get into it in a minute. Just before we get into it, just one question about the past vis-a-vis the present, which is that when you're knocking about in a shopping centre or listening to the radio, and you hear Ruby or Every Day I Love You Less and Less or I Predict a Riot, do you smile with the smile of a proud parent, or do you sort of slap your face and go, oh God?
No, of course. When it happens truly by accident, it's great. But like if you're in a restaurant for like 10 minutes and then you see them kind of poking their heads from behind the kitchen door because they put it on especially, as if to say, he'll get a real kick out of it. That can be quite embarrassing.
Slightly awkward, yes.
But I like it. I like the fact that memories, especially with music, it's almost like it really takes me. It's like a proper trigger, and I can almost taste what we were doing. And it's a weird. It's not taste. It's not smell. It's just that I got this whole feeling that comes over me about that time. It's weird.
There is a thing called olfactory memory.
There is.
It's really, really strong, like smells and tastes and those kind of sensory feelings.
Yeah.
They can have such strong memories attached to them, whatever it is.
Especially the first record, when we basically left our houses for about a year and a half and came back and we were famous. Right? But while we were in it, it just felt like it was so relentless, and we'd wanted it for so long, we weren't going to let go of the reins, so we just let it pull us along, and it was crazy. First couple of years.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah. Do you not find as well, because you don't tend to listen to the early records that much, but we play them live all the time.
Of course.
So sometimes I'll be somewhere and I'll be like, oh, what's this? I know this. Oh yeah, it's really good.
Oh yeah.
And it must kick off live, like still,
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we're very lucky to have struck gold more than once.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, it's a testament to your incredibly infectious hook writing, which we'll come to. So let's come into Duck now.
Yep.
So first things first, are we talking about an aquatic fowl? Are we talking about there's a frisbee aimed at your head, or is it that northern thing? Is that duck?
I think it's the animal. What is it for you?
I think it's the animal as well, because of the silly idea. There's this is the front cover, which is lovely and beautiful, but the very, very early idea was, let's call it Duck, but have a dog on the front. So
Just to mess
go
with
surreal,
people's minds.
mess with them.
But also, we were calling it Duck for a long time. Like when you're sending each other files and stuff, it used to be written on tapes, but it's files now. Because you have to give it a name, and KC7 was a bit boring.
Yeah.
So we called it Duck, and then it stuck, Duck stuck. But usually, this has happened in the past with records, and we change it at the last minute. Like we kind of like, we chicken out of it a little bit. That's not a pun. It's not a foul pun. But we do. We kind of like, we think, oh no, maybe they'll say, the critics will say, out for a duck, or or we always. But that's writing or being edited before anything's happened.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all our records have had different titles at some point, apart from maybe Employment. And I wish they were called the first one we called them. You should always go with your gut.
Who was it? Was it Ginsberg said first thought, best thought?
I 90% agree with that.
Yeah, of course. You can come really horribly unstuck.
Yeah, exactly.
But what a charming cover as well. It's so British and and charming, and the palette is very.
And it's very us. It's and nowadays it's weird because you make friends who you consider friends that you've never met through the internet. And I really like this guy's art. So I started talking to him, and he doesn't just tweet pictures of the art. He's quite funny as well. So I kind of, and we only met him about 3 weeks ago, and I just thought I knew him really well. And he was skinnier than I thought he'd be.
It's funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can have these post-millennial relationships with people.
It's very odd.
that you've never met.
1975 should write a record about it.
All right. Well, so when it was a blank piece of paper, when
Yeah.
it was nothing, was there an aim? Was there a vision? Was there some kind of a like this is what it's got to be, or did you just go with the flow?
The album, I think. Well, you might.
I was going to say,
I probably disagree.
No, I wasn't, because I was going to say I read an interview that you'd done the other day, and you answered this question very well, and I thought I'm having that for when I do an interview.
Go on then.
And it was in the past, like especially the last couple of records before this one, we have actually talked about what we wanted to achieve, but on this one we just went in, started writing. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And we were just in our rehearsal room, and just started making noises. Do you want to pick it up from there?
Yeah, I think it was quite a long record to make, and we did a lot of sort of noodling, I called it in that interview actually, because it was like we wrote so many songs for this record, but actually I kind of feel like we always knew we weren't doing it seriously. It was almost like we were sort of doing a bit of prep,
Stretches.
getting ready, doing the stretches,
Lunges.
Yeah.
doing some lunges, like getting match fit and ready to go. So there's loads of songs that, and then January 2018, we were like, right, we're making a record. And we kind of already had a record almost of songs but in which we were adding to. But I kind of, saying in the back of my head, I knew that none of those were going to make, and we had a lot of writing to
like
do.
a one in, one out policy.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And we just, I think the most important thing for us on this one was like, the last one, I think people didn't massively understand what we were trying to do, because we were trying to do something different and like stretch our boundaries or whatever. And so this one, I still wanted to stretch the boundaries, but I just wanted to make sure that at the base of it, everyone could tell it was Kaiser Chiefs. That was the most important thing.
It's funny because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you don't try something new, then you're resting on your laurels.
Yeah.
If you do try something new, then it's like in some way
Turning your back on your
turning
fans.
your
They've
back on your
abandoned
fans.
us.
Yeah. So you kind of, and then you don't want to compromise by doing something in the middle, because nothing ever good came from a compromise. So then you just have to kind of like start, dancing on your own, or making music as if there's no audience, like you did for the first record, to a certain extent to the second one. But then you start getting, like I said, thinking about the critics before you've even opened your notebook, which is a problem.
Yeah, of course it is. Well, okay, well, let's get in. Track 1, People Know How to Love One Another.
Yeah.
Lovely, cracking bass sound on this one, I have to say. It's a Kaiser stomper. It's what I call it. It's a classic Kaiser stomper with a strong chorus. It feels like an anthem of positivity towards the human race.
Definitely, I think say the chorus a lot.
That is one of our tricks, though, that we've always done.
Yeah.
Which also, it's again the same thing. You'll get criticised without all respect, but it's just repeating the same thing. If you've got a good trick, keep doing it.
It's your thing.
Yeah.
But it's your thing.
Exactly,
Isn't it? You just own it. Like if people slag you off for it, that's their problem.
Which I'm happy for them to do
Yeah.
that, because it gives us more column inches, and they can say what they like. It's still talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, a great chorus is still a great chorus.
Exactly. It's just,
I thought it was a nice message for 2019, because there's a lot of diverse opinions or whatever in society.
we're a bit split at the moment.
And it sort of fitted into, so in the January when we started, we wrote a couple of songs, then we started, for some reason, we were sort of went down this Northern Soul, Motown-y sort of route. And so the first version of this is very almost pastiche Motown-y, kind of Amy Winehouse doing Motown or whatever.
Yeah.
And we really liked that version, but we always knew that we couldn't release it in that format, but it stayed like for ages, and we played it live like that actually. And it was only really late on in the album, like last couple of months, we changed wrote a new verse and changed it around a bit. But that sort of became a little bit of sound of the album, in that we started off, as I say, with like Northern Soul-y. Actually, what that turned into was like groove, having a groove at the bottom of it. So there's a few songs we'll get to, like Record Collection and Wait, and some other songs on the album, and all of them, it was sort of maybe not get people dancing, but get them make people move.
Yeah, get some hips jiggling.
Yeah.
Well, on to track 2. And the last thing that we're thinking of on a boiling day like today is Christmas. But this is obviously possible Christmas single here. Really infectious. This is another Kaiser's signature tune, isn't it?
I didn't think
you
of
love
it as a Christmas song, but I do mention Christmas.
You love a shouty backing vocal, don't you?
I do, yeah. I do. But it was very important because when we were doing the backing vocal shouty, I was saying, try and lighten your voice when you shout. Don't make it like, make it kind of like, in the kind of like the Motown spirit of keeping it like a light shout. And it was when we started doing that, I thought it sounds much better than like just bellowing it. But a Golden Oldies is...
But I was going to say that in the sort of doing Kaiser Chiefs thing, I think we need to do lots of backing vocals, but we didn't want them to be like 2005 laddie backing vocals. That's what we're trying to get away from. And so same with Kurt versus Frasier, right? We were trying to like do something that was that recognisable at Kaiser Chiefs, but without being just doing what we used to do, you know, what people thought we should do.
But then again, there is a thing that I don't really say that often, but when I do backing vocals, I sometimes put on a voice a bit like Nick, who left the band, to make us sound more like the Kaiser Chiefs.
That's hilarious.
So it's kind of a bit more like a head voice, but nasally. And so
that's an exclusive.
That's an exclusive. So I kind of like get into this kind of like Nick Hodgson mode, and I do this voice. I mean, he'll know I do it because he's listened to this.
Nick, you could smile. Actually, this reminds me that at this point in the record, I'll share with you a thought that I had, and tell me if I'm wrong. But I thought Ricky's singing slightly different. Like, are you addressing the microphone slightly differently, or is there something going on there?
I'm trying to get better. I mean, there is an element of like, if you've had a job for 20 years, you should be good at it.
Yeah.
And I realised that when I first started singing, I just wanted to be in a band, and it seemed like the easiest way in. But then after doing it for a long time, I mean, I've had lessons.
That's the first thing I thought. I thought, Ricky's had a lesson with a very expensive singing coach. Well, that's what it sounds like.
No, I had one lesson but recorded it.
Okay, yeah. That's your Leeds thriftiness coming through.
Yeah, but also I got lots of experience, and you know, when I did. I don't know if you'd heard of a TV show called The Voice, but there was an element in that where I had to sing with Tom Jones,
of course,
like twice a week. So I thought, I've got to really step up my game here, and they had loads of vocal coaches come out our ears on that show. So I'd like, but yeah, I can sing better, reach higher notes, hold them for longer. I do warm ups and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm proper.
Yeah, no, it sounded really good. I'm meaning this as a compliment.
Thank you very much indeed.
I thought, this is really cool. So on to number 3, and cheeky bass line on this one, and also the thing that I found really interesting about this record, and this is unusual for me because I'm not very lyrical focused. I'm much more melody and bass line and rhythm focused. The lyrics really pulled me in on this record. Really pulled me in. And it started with here. There was this absolutely brilliant line on here. 99 problems and everyone with a flake.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic.
It's still, I mean, I like the fact, and this is one of those things, it's great reading reviews because when you read criticisms of things you're proud of, it's almost a win. You know, when people say, he's putting gags in, I'm going, all my favourite artists put gags in their songs. There's not like, it's not a man walks into a bar kind of gag, but it's just a little, if we can mention the Smiths anymore.
Absolutely.
But, in Blur and the Kinks, there was always a little twist on something, even Sex Pistols, to make it, because I think that if you can prick people's ears up and get them into a song, without stopping them in the tracks, but make it move along and make them feel like you're talking to them. I think that the way I talk to people anyway is you always pepper it with keeping people's attention with humour. So we've always done that. But I
think it could have been unemployment, that lyric as well. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
When we talked about Kaiser Chiefs DNA, it's definitely that kind of thing. You know.
There was another one. Your 15 minutes turn to 8.
Yeah.
Make them think. Yeah. I mean, that's a really cool line.
Yeah.
And vis-a-vis now, the way that things are going, and everything's programmed so ADHD, and everyone's famous for smaller amount of time. I thought it was a great lyric. I thought it was a really good lyric.
I'm getting quite embarrassed.
Ricky, do you do all the lyrics, or do you guys sometimes pitch it?
There's a lot of lyrics on the record that like people know how to love one another. That line Whitey came up with, and it's
as in Nathan Whitey.
As in Whitey, our guitarist.
Oh.
which is arguably the best lyric on the album, which I'm annoyed about. But everyone has a go, but that usually results in me getting really cross and wanting to do something better, which is
Being quite modest for a change. I'd say Ricky writes. Sometimes we'll have an idea or title, but Ricky will write 99% of the lyrics. You know.
And it really, because it helps when people try and write them, because it really, I don't want it to get on the record. That's me being totally honest, but you know, I'd rather have total control.
Okay, on to track 4, a target market. So we've come down in tempo after a really pumping start, haven't we? And you're addressing this one in baritone, which I thought really suited you, because you're often at the top of your range, aren't you?
Yeah, every record we made, my top of my range has got higher.
Yeah,
because I get comfortable, and during an album cycle, I get really good at a record, and I'm like, wow, I can do that now. Because with the beginning of touring a record, I'm always struggling, and by the end of it, I can do it.
Yeah, I was literally thinking, when I heard Target Market, I thought, when they're playing live, this would be a really nice break for Ricky. Because you need a little bit of a break so you can, you know.
Yeah, well, I think that a lot of the songs, when we write them, either I'm screaming it or I'm mumbling it, and I think this was a mumble song and it came together pretty quickly though, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, I think Ricky likes to be on the edge, like when it's a powerful song or, you know, a fast song, I think Ricky thinks his energy comes from being right on the edge, doesn't it? You know? Whereas this is not on this is something, a totally different feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, all my favourite vocalists are female vocalists. I'm not a big fan of male vocals, but I do think male vocals work best when it sounds like they're really reaching for it.
What about those? I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Okay. Some of my favourite vocalist pretty much is Perry Farrell.
Okay.
Because you know, a guy that kind of sings like a girl.
Yeah, well,
know,
there you go.
What I mean?
So,
and I love Brian Molko from Placebo.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well,
But the thing is, I'm not a fan of a lot of male singers, because I think it's a little bit like, I could do that. And I want to hear someone that I listen to and go, I couldn't do that. So that's why I try and do it.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Oh, another point about target market is you know, judging the book by the cover. I thought, it's going to be a moaning about the record label, or it's going to be like a bitter Manson song. But it's a love song, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
And that surprised me in a nice way.
Totally. Well, it's just based on the fact that I've done a couple of best man speeches, and I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like a silly idea to start a thing, but I think they are like, it's like you have screens now, and it's supposed to be saying something of emotion and pure. And now it's turned into jokes and like a PowerPoint presentation.
They have auto cues.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is such at odds with what your job is.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought this is an interesting way of looking at a relationship and how you start it, and seeing it as some kind of something you do at work. And you know, I mentioned overhead projectors, which I don't think I've thought about since school. But do you remember the overhead projector?
Yes, with the squeaky pen.
Yeah. They don't exist anymore.
I probably not. I think we've moved on. I think we probably moved on. Well, maybe in some very
being wheeled in,
underfunded.
Being wheeled in with the guy with the coat. You know, there was always a guy who was in charge of tech at school. He'd bring it, and as soon as you saw a TV coming into the big TV on a trolley, you'd go, "Great, history lesson! I can fall asleep."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the best man speech, because I think a best man speech is a very important thing, and I often use it as an analogy for a really good record. Because a really good best man speech, in my view, should make you laugh at the beginning and make you cry at the end, and you should absolutely have those two emotional opposites.
With the added point, which is you've got a room full of lots of different people. You've got people in their 80s, and you've got friends of the groom. You have to have something that appeals to a lot of people, but without being wishy-washy, because you have to still be punchy with it, but you can't offend the old people.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it's very easy to make a room laugh, laugh.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to make a room just cry, and it's the same with a record. But to do both in the same speech or in the same record, like the first Streets record, it makes you laugh at the beginning, makes you cry at the end. That's a really tall order, isn't it? Yeah. But sorry, we're digressing.
No, it's true. It's true.
So let's get further in. Track 5. Don't just stand there, do something. Sounds like we've got domestic troubles going on here.
Yeah.
And a searing review of an iPhone, perhaps?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, again, it's obviously when you're writing, you're just constantly grabbing hold of phrases that you think this sounds like I am anyway. This sounds like a Kaiser Chiefs song title.
Yeah.
And that was one of those. Don't just stand there, do something. I thought sounds like a Kaiser Chiefs album. And what we managed to do on the first few records was we'd have song titles that then became headlines in the newspapers. And we knew that when we'd done that, we'd crossed over. And we'd gone from just being an alternative indie band or whatever you want to call it to being part of the conscious of the nation. And then I was thinking on this record, we need some more of them. And then Don't Just Stand There, Do Something, I think sounds like a Kaiser Chiefs song. And you could write that on the front cover of The Sun today.
Yeah. That's great. I often in my career I've had the name for the title for the feature. Before the feature, it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
So, that's about big.
Exactly.
You know?
And we do live in a world where people like to grab onto these things. Like you still, if there's an article about Elton John, it will still say Rocket Man 72, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Rocket Man Elton. And you're kind of like, you can't, you know, riot predictors will, you know, Kaiser Chiefs, but you know, you've got to replace them.
Yeah.
You can't, even Elton still gets called Rocket Man.
Absolutely. You know? So we're sticking with Don't Just Stand There, Do Something.
Yeah.
Are you standers or are you doers?
Oh, I think I stand there and do nothing, but then as my head's hitting the pillow, that's when I think about everything I could have said. I'm one of those.
Yeah, most people are like that.
I'm like that, but I should have said that. Yeah.
Try and be a doer there sometimes. I think it's like, I don't know. So back to society though, I think, isn't it? A little bit of like...
Yeah.
It's very difficult at the moment, I think, as a band, some bands, I think, like obviously 1975, as we mentioned earlier, have done this climate change song, you know? I think some bands...
I wasn't aware of it until they brought out that song.
No, it's an issue.
It's an issue.
Although Donald Trump doesn't think so.
No.
Anyway.
He's not God being angry because we're not going to church.
I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, let's
well,
not.
there you go. No, that's the case in point. I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, that's it. People aren't doing, aren't they? Kids, that's my, I mean, we're digressing, but my problem with society, if we're going to go down that road at the moment, is that nobody's rioting. No, I mean, no pun intended. But for your, you know...
I've been on some marches and stuff, though. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. I think you've got to, like, picking your battles, I think, basically, between the standing there and observing or, you know, and having your opinion.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got to, like, get in there.
It's just really tough because I don't want to cross over into a line of being a preacher. I don't, you know, as an entertainer, I don't want to sound like I've got this sorted because I'm famous, so I know what I'm talking about. Because half the time, I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, it's like I'm not well informed enough to have this argument. You know, especially when it's not something that. Oh, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just.
No, I mean, I know what you mean. You don't want to turn into Bono and Sting.
But also,
I
don't want to turn into one of those people that, you know, when you're in a car and they've got LBC on, and you have people ringing in. Yeah. And this kind of misinformed half knowledge that people have to get involved in a conversation. I don't think they should be in the conversation when they're and it's a problem with social media because it just creates pockets. It's like we're a bubble wrap society where we live in our thing and we think that's how the way it is because it's in our little bubble. And it really splits. You think the community such as the social network would make everyone more tolerant of everything else. It just makes your world smaller and smaller and smaller. And even the internet will start suggesting things to you that you might like because you bought a mop, which makes your, you know, or if you like Kaiser Chiefs, you will like, you know, the Killers. And it's like, well, no, I might not. I might hate Kaiser Chiefs. But stop suggesting that I might like it. It just makes your world smaller.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I'm going to just check myself now. To say that there is one organisation writing who I'm in awe of, and in the 1975, and Radiohead gave all the profits of their last two records to them, and that's Extinction Rebellion. So I'm going to just big them up, and then we're going to move on to track 6, Record Collection. This actually reminded me of Parva Record Collection. It reminded me of of your early days when you were a bit confused and were like, are we a rock band or are we a dance band?
Yeah, well, you can't really shake everything that you've ever done off your back, and we did have that kind of. It was a lot more in Parva. I think it was a lot more heavily based on creating like a mood via the sounds of it, and lyrics were very much sprinkled on top. right? And I think record collection, it's really heavily groove based. It
Yeah.
could be an instrumental on the record, and some might argue it should have been. 'Cause,
Oh no, because
Well,
then
that's
we
great.
would have missed
That's
the
great.
first pop and rock use of the word credenza.
is that official?
Now I'm putting that out there. I mean, if
Yeah,
anybody wants to take me up on that, then feel free to get in touch with me. Eddie Tillman Morris at Virgin
The thing
Radio.
is, the problem with that is, I wrote the words quite quickly.
City planner.
City
That's
planner.
Also,
Yeah,
rare.
yeah. I wrote the words very quickly as it was playing, and it was one of those where we had a loop, and we learnt it on the Making Stay Together, really, the last record, where we'd get 16 bars, play it, and I'd just keep singing over the top, trying out different melodies. But what you hear is basically what I came up with on the spot, and I think it's betraying my middle-class roots that when I was freestyling, I got hidden agenda,
Hidden in a credenza.
hidden agenda, and then just went straight to credenza, right? And I was like, I know my grandma had an antique shop, but that's was giving it away too much.
It felt northern to me.
Did it?
I could,
All right,
I
that's
could
good.
hear a Leeds accent.
No,
and
I know what you mean. No, I think you're thinking because it's a bit like something Alan Bennett would say.
yeah, credenza.
And there was
Yeah,
a chip under the credenza.
yeah, I definitely heard exactly that.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Hockney or it was like I
Because
heard
it's
northern.
that, it's that social climbing that you wouldn't call it the cupboard. Oh, get the hot plate out of the credenza, will you?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that. And also,
The hostess trolley.
It's given it's given me a fantastic way to get a really good 8 letters out in Scrabble. with
Oh,
the
right,
Z.
yeah.
I picked up Jack White, who sat where you're sitting
Yeah.
now in the last one of these that I did, and bigged up his use of the word raised, R-A-Z-E, because that's one of my favourite ways to get rid of a Z, and that's pretty easy. You know, to get a C and a Z. Sorry, we're veering into Scrabble
No,
again.
I was playing
but-
Scrabble the other day, and I used the word links, which was fantastic.
Oh, yeah,
L-Y-N-X.
L-Y-N-X, lovely. Wow, I'm high-fiving you for that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's also a really good word if you've ever playing hangman with someone.
Oh, yeah.
It's only 4, and people say, "I'll get that." I mean, it takes them ages. to
yeah,
get
of
links.
course. Yeah. Because you're never going to go
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
Y and the X until the right at the end. And yeah, absolutely right. So, pressing on, we are now getting you've secreted my 2 favourite tracks next door to each other, right in the middle of the record, and we're getting to the first one here. And this is me. Music is very subjective, but my favourite 2, the only ones, right? Because what a guitar hook at the top for starters.
Yeah.
That completely got me in. It's delightful. And also it reminded me that I like the way that you sing in English, Ricky.
Thank you.
You sing in English.
Well-
it winds me up when people go, you know, when they a line like, what was it, half-lit eyes, and you got all these English people going, half-lit eyes. No, you're not from freaking Nashville.
Yeah.
You're
Okay,
from
that's good.
Rotherham, you know.
That's good. No, I really like that song as well. And I think it's halfway through the record, and I think we're quite old school about we still think the first track of the second side should kick it off again. Even though it doesn't anymore.
Yeah,
it's
of course.
just halfway
Well,
through a list now.
You say that, Ricky, but sales of vinyl, I think, have never been stronger.
Right.
Right,
yeah, I
we did a
suppose.
tri-coloured vinyl for this
Yeah,
album.
we did.
Oh.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Polydor are watching. And my address is.
But no, I think it was, if on the record we were going for a moment where we thought let's like flex our pop muscles. I think that was it, and we kind of went for the jugular on that.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of what we learnt from the last record, well, maybe we overcooked going down that route, but we enjoyed it because it's quite good fun writing pop songs.
Well, my initial thought after I got over the gorgeousness of that hook at the beginning was, this got to be a single. I mean, I would have this as my record of the week on Virgin.
Oh, right,
all
okay.
day long.
Again,
write that
if
down.
you're talking to Polydor, we're open to suggestions. And this has never really happened with us before because there is no plan for what the next song will be, a single. Because there was a point when the album was finished, and then I think the head of A&R was saying, it sounds like we've got 11 or 12 great second singles. Right? And I was thinking, that's a real compliment. But he was basically saying, we haven't got the first single
yeah,
yet.
it's a backhanded
But
compliment.
then we recorded People Know How to Love One Another, and he was saying I was wrong. Which
Oh,
is
good.
obviously a first single.
Good. Well, it's big. It's
Yeah.
big of a person to admit when they're wrong.
But yeah, we're still thinking about what the second single's going to be.
Well, so driving on now,
Yeah.
we come to another gold star track for me. Lucky Shirt. So it's almost like The Cure. I smiled because it was so like The Cure. Just the first few couple of bars, like there
Yeah.
was an effect. I don't know, maybe it was like a chorus or a flange on the guitar or something.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
made it sound very Robert Smithy. And I'm a huge Cure fan, but it's just such a great pop song. It's got everything. It's got a great hook. It's got a really memorable verse. It's got a fantastic bridge. It's got your signature great. Infectious chorus. It sort of ticks every box, this one, for me.
Yeah.
It's got a funny middle eight that's before the last chorus.
Yes, that's right. It did have a late middle eight. Yeah.
So it's sort of weird. It goes verse 2, I guess, middle eight, chorus.
And actually, you know what? I'm going to throw this out there. The chorus was suddenly, it wasn't it didn't sound like a signature chorus for you. It sounded more like Bruce Springsteen or Tom Petty.
that's
It
good.
got into that sort of
Oh,
territory.
that's really good. I had the title before there was anything. It was one of those where I thought,
Yeah.
and I kept writing when everyone refers to it as Lucky Shirt, my lucky shirt, because I wanted it to be called My Lucky Shirt, but everyone just kept saying Lucky Shirt, and I gave up in the end. Because I thought My Lucky Shirt was a better title, but now I was obviously wrong because everyone else.
I don't know.
But
But I remember me, you and Whitey were in Brighton, weren't we, and we did it. And then for me, the vocal is, like, there's various things. I actually played the bass synth instead of the bass, I think. Or maybe I played both in the end. But it was like a day where we weren't getting much done, and then suddenly we had this idea. And then for me, when we'd done a demo, but the thing that was great about it was Ricky's vocals is such a passionate sort of, that was the thing, the music is good, and particularly some of the later stuff, like Peanut did that synthy stuff later. The vocals, like emotion of the vocals, like, well, that's the song, and it sort of hung around for ages. Like, everyone knew it was good, but didn't really know what to do with it, because it was like, well, I was all a bit like, if we redo it, and like make it more Kaiser Chiefs and less Springsteen or whatever, it's not going to be it. It's going to not be as good. So how are we going to like keep it as it is and it sit with the rest of the record, So it must have been like 6 months. We didn't do anything with it.
It kind of got put on the back burner, but it was always there.
And then
Of all the songs, talking about singing-wise, it's very high, but there's no room for cracking the voice, so it's really hard to do live, because I have to keep it quite sweet-sounding, but high, and it's hard, so I nearly swore. Did the one under the breath one there. But yeah, but it works on the record.
it's great.
Yeah, it sounds really good. Like it's a great track. I'd happily play that.
Also, really great for merch, because we're going to do a
Lucky Shirt, of course.
with a 4-leaf clover on it.
And are you superstitious? Like
No.
because I laugh when I saw it, because I have lucky pants.
Do you?
Whenever if I go over an interview, I do. If I do something where I feel I need some luck, I put lucky.
You've got actually lucky pants?
I've got pants that I feel are lucky. Well, I felt that they were lucky until I sharted in them. Then I realised that actually superstition is just bullshit.
I actually, on my 40th birthday, got rid of every superstition overnight, and it was so brilliant. And now I flaunt in the face of them.
You walk under ladders.
Yeah, I'm kicking black cats. I don't. I've never
It's
kicked
all right,
a cat.
Cats Protection League. He's just joking.
I was joking. But
I'm sort of like, look, I can't decide, because like, so Leeds United,
Yeah.
the end of last year, they had this match and they put all these scarves out in the ground, and then they lost this very important game. And I was like, but it was quite a nice scarf. And I was like, so I kept it. And then when it was our Ellen Road show, I wanted to have a scarf for on stage. I was like, oh, that's a good scarf, I'll take that. And I thought in the back of my head, oh, it could be unlucky though because of the match. I was like, there's no such thing. It's not possible this scarf is responsible for the bad luck. That makes no sense. So then I went on stage, played the first song, and then the second, third, and fourth song, my bass broke.
Oh!
there is an element of, I got rid of my superstitions because once you're aware something might be bad luck, I think it can become
You caught it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I think because it puts you in the zone.
Yeah. Whereas if you kind of like laugh in the face of it, I think it becomes quite. It's the same amount of time I think about not having superstitions. I used to think about having them.
Yeah.
So it's just switched it round.
I think that sounds very healthy.
I see a mirror, I smash it. But if I did, I wouldn't freak out.
Good. So pressing on, and we're in the home. We're approaching the home straight now, and Electric Heart. So, is this about an actual person, or is this metaphorical? Was my first thought.
It's about a female pop star.
And you're not going to go any further than
No,
that.
I've written a few songs about female pop stars, and I've never, said which ones they were or which songs they were.
Yeah.
But because I get quite inspired by some of them, and sometimes it changes halfway through the song, like a dream. You know, when you're in your house, but then you got on the beach.
Yes,
but
suddenly.
you don't think about it. You don't think it's weird.
Yeah.
But it's like in that when you're writing songs, you sometimes have one person in mind, but even the second verse is different. But yeah, it's about a performer. Female performer who is magical and incredible, but slightly pushed around, like perform as if they're a robot.
And will you privately tell them that it's about them?
I would never meet them.
Oh, really? Oh, so
They're
that
far
is
too
somebody
famous.
who's... Oh, okay,
Yeah.
somebody's right out there. Oh, okay. That's kind of sweet. That's almost... There's an almost unrequited love
Oh yeah, no,
thing
but
there.
I do like my female pop stars.
Musically,
Yeah,
Not in a weird way.
Not in a creepy way.
musically on Electric Heart, I think it's funny, and with the BVs and stuff from Koozie and music. I think it's funny because we had another song that we had for absolutely ages. Like I think we wrote it in that first month of writing the record. And like all the time, it was in the background. And then with that one, rather than rewriting, like I said, people know we rewrote the verses a bit, and then trying to think of another song we did a few times. We did a bit of a rewrite. Northern Holiday, which we haven't got to yet, that got totally rewritten about 9 times. Electric Heart, rather than rewriting it, we just add a bit. So if you listen to it, there's like 10 keyboard lines, 9 guitar lines, 150 backing vocals. It's just like, I need something else. Oh, what about this backing vocal?
Yeah, we just let's pile it all on Electric Heart. It works there.
Just
It's
about.
a good moment on the record.
Yeah.
We got away with it, did we?
I think it's great. I think it's like a real like cacophony of everything.
Yeah, it didn't
Kitchen
feel
sink, it should be
cacophonous.
called.
It definitely works. You've got good mixers involved in this record, haven't you? Pressing on, Northern Holiday warmed my heart. There's a lyric that warmed my heart, or a metaphor where you snag your jumper and then you go, and then it leaves you the trail home. And it reminded me of what used to be my favourite lyric, which is, if you want to destroy my sweater, hold this thread while I walk away, which is, equally fantastic.
Yeah, that's probably stolen from that then. Yeah.
Oh no, what? Absolutely not.
No, I'm saying that in a good way. It's one of those things where it's crept into me, and I thought that's a nice image of standing there, just coming home, but being totally naked because you've unravelled on the way there.
And is it a I'm on the road so much and I really miss my missus kind of a song?
No, there's too many of those already. I think it's more about forgetting your roots.
Oh, okay.
Because I moved away from the north, and since that time you've moved back to the north, and I think sometimes even with my fiance at the moment, she's making me see my parents more than I used to, because I really resent her for it. No, but I don't know. But then I make an effort and I go back more, and it's actually quite good.
Yeah, that is nice.
You do get something back from it.
Roots are very important.
Yeah, very important.
I think for many reasons. Yeah. So we come to the end now, and to a real WTF moment. You've got this Seattle battle between Kurt Cobain and Frasier, and it warmed my heart because I'm a massive Frasier fan.
It's it's in my top 3 shows.
It's one of the best written things ever on television.
Fantastic, and it's also, how many times have I had to Google something to find out what the joke's about, then found it hilariously funny. Because it doesn't hold its punches when it comes to highbrow comedy.
No,
but it still was like loved by billions of people around the world who probably the jokes were washing over the head. Also, it's just an old-fashioned British farce. Most of them one-set shows. Even when they're in a log cabin, there's coming in one door, going out the other door, and it's like got that vibe to it.
I tell you this, I bet you the last time apart from your record, that I heard the word credenza was through Frasier Crane.
Antiquing. Probably was, yeah.
I bet you any money.
But no, I love Frasier Crane, and watching Frasier really reminds me of just having no responsibility at all. because it used to be on. It still is on Channel 4 in the mornings, but it
Mm.
was on when I was a student, and I would just sit there watching Frasier all day. You know, before you had 20 channels. Or I'm saying that like an old person. Before we had enough channels to last your lifetime. It was like 5 channels, and I just got so into it. In the same way I got into, Nirvana. Just no responsibility. Good time in my life, and also Kurt Cobain rhymes with Frasier Crane, and it's too irresistible.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
It
great
must be the
title as
first,
well. Yeah.
first and last time that those two are ever going to be
Yeah.
put versus
The
each other.
title came right at the end of that one, because that one was written. I was on holiday, I sent some voice memos to Simon, who was in rehearsal with the band. Then he'd send back a version. Then I'd write another bit, and then Simon wrote this bass line for the intro, which was the best bit, and that became the chorus.
That actually something did come from all those noodling, because that came from the noodling.
Yeah.
I put it in as a middle eight, didn't you? And you were like, I like that. Yeah.
Which is the that was his bass line, and I was saying it's the best bit, and you only do it once. Yeah, so let's keep it as the chorus.
I liked it as well. Though. When I first heard, when you did the Kurt Cobain bit, I was like, again, not thinking, not going to the base level of thinking what other people will say, because my initial thought was a bit like, oh, mentioning Kurt Cobain, is that like something that people can like criticize us for or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But then I just wrote down Kurt versus Frasier as the title at one point, and I was like, it's just a brilliant title.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. We've done it. We've gone through the whole of Duck. How do you feel therapized now?
I do. I feel cathartic release, and I'm glad I was wearing my lucky pants.
do you feel any different now that you've gone through it, just with a bit of sort of, benefit of hindsight, a little bit of separation? How do you feel about it now?
I think it's feeling pride about something's a bit weird when it's just 45 minutes of noise, and it still astonishes me and people around me that it takes nearly 2 years to make 45 minutes of noise. But it's really condensing it. It's really boiling something down. It's like having a swimming pool and making a frying pan. It is, though,
I will say just finally that there's this feeling that is echoed from the last time that I was in this situation with the raconteurs, and I was feeling, gosh, when you're that long in the tooth, that you could just be going through the motions with a record, but there's a great energy to that record, and there's a great energy to this record. It feels like you're really enjoying life and you're really enjoying making music.
Yeah, it was really hard actually, I think, but I think because of that, it made us try even harder to make sure it was, at the end, it had to be brilliant, because it had been so many little bits and pieces of things had gone wrong during the process of making it. We had to finish it. It had to be brilliant. So I think that was like inspirational to us to make a great record. And
It's fine. It's a good record. It's a fantastic record. And you should be very proud of yourself, Simon. On YouTube. Thank you.
There you are. There you have it. The artist formerly known as Parva.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Kaiser Chiefs, or just Kaiser Chiefs, I think.
Either or, we're not fussy.
The Chris Evans Breakfast Show and the best music. Virgin Radio.